So in this episode, I'm going to run through my story when it comes to my past struggles with my body image issues. And I'm going to give you tangible tips on how you can make real progress when it comes to your body dysmorphia or your body image struggles.
This is the Lifestyle Nutrition Podcast.
Our mission is to help as many people as possible get the information they need to achieve their fat loss goal and be able to keep those results for life. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lifestyle Nutrition Podcast. And we got a solo episode for you today. So Nick couldn't join me today. And so you got just Alex for the next 30-ish minutes. And we got an awesome one for you today. Before we get into that, I just wanted to talk about a little bit of my life. So right now, I am still doing my 90-day challenge. Today is day 39 as we go about it. I did some yoga this morning and feeling really, really good. I honestly can't even describe how much different of a person I am just right now as opposed to what I was 39 days ago. Just the discipline I've been able to develop. I've continued to challenge myself with this 90-day challenge. I've added minutes of reading. I started with 15 minutes of reading a day. I'm up to 45 minutes of reading a day. And it's crazy just how quickly I can get through books, how much I'm learning throughout that. You know, I've added in certain things like a daily 30-minute walk outside. I've added in just different kinds of exercise to my week. Like I said, I did yoga. I've been doing running. I've done hockey. I've done workouts, resistance training, stuff like that. And it's become a part of my life to just get this stuff done, no matter what it takes, no matter if I feel good, no matter if, I'm motivated. And I was definitely somebody for the past really 26, 27 years of my life, 28 maybe. I guess I'm almost 29. I'm 29 in a few months here. And basically for the last 28-ish years of my life, I was somebody who allowed the motivation curve, the motivation roller coaster to really determine what I ended up getting done. I let the motivation curve, the emotional roller coaster, determine what action that I took. And it didn't really lead me to much results. It didn't lead me to constantly taking steps forward. And so this 90-day challenge is something I think anybody out there who's listening can try out, where you just just start with 2 to 3 non-negotiables, where 2 to 3 things that are going to help you move forward towards whatever your goal is. For you, maybe that's a step goal. Maybe that's starting out with 6,000 steps a day and a water goal. If you just start out with those 2 things and you commit to 90 days of doing those things, you'll probably get to a certain point where you're like, oh shit, like this is easy. Like I'm going to add a new one, right? I'm going to add a new one. And you keep developing more discipline. You keep getting better. And guess what? At the end of that 90 days halfway through that time, you're going to be a completely different person because you've committed and you've been the person now for those 45 days or those 90 days who actually follows through on what he says he's going to do or what she says she's going to do. And you can't really put a price on that because it translates to every area of your life. It's going to translate to every area of your life if you start developing discipline. I think it's one of the greatest skills that you can develop. And I know we talked about it on a previous episode, so I won't go too much more in depth. I just wanted to share a little bit of where I'm at right now. I'm almost to the halfway point of my 90-day challenge, which is where I'm going to shift from muscle building and being in a calorie surplus to a calorie deficit, where I'm going to focus on fat loss for the rest of the time. And so I am excited to see the changes in my body after this, but the real changes are happening in my mind, in my mindset. And that's the big reason why I did this, my mentality and really developing certain skills and habits that are going to lead me to long-term success and lead me to my mission and continuing to fulfill on my mission of helping as many people as possible achieve their fat loss goal, but actually keep the results. I've talked about it recently. We kind of shifted the podcast to focus more on that recently. And I think it's something that there's not enough people out there that are keeping their results. There's too many people doing these quick fixes, these fad diets. And, it takes a while of people trying these new things and these crazy plans and these super restrictive plans before they figure out it doesn't work. And I want to be able to help more people keep the fucking results that they get. And with that, let's get into today's podcast. I'm done with my rant. I'm done with my rant for the day. Like I said, Nick couldn't join us today, but I'm just going to do a solo episode, and it's all on body image issues today, body dysmorphia. And it's something that I personally struggled a lot with. So I'm very, very, very familiar with this. And I'll preface this episode with, I don't personally believe that these things fully go away. At least I haven't seen that in my life. I've struggled with it for a long, long time, really wanting to see just that really good body in the mirror and just not ever feeling like it's good enough. Always looking in the mirror, picking apart myself, grabbing my stomach, grabbing, like, we got excess fat here, whatever, like not feeling good enough. And I struggled with that for a long, long time, just not feeling like I was good enough, not feeling like my body was good enough. And guess what? That led me to doing a lot of drastic things. That's why I've tried all of these different quick fixes, these different fad diets. I've tried these drastic things. I've Googled a lot of shit on how can I lose fat as quick as possible. I wanted to get down, I wanted to be shredded. I thought that's what the ladies wanted to see. That's what people would respect. I put way too much on my body. I put way too much on just people actually noticing it. And that's one of the things I will go into, but I wanted to start by how I started to make progress. It's like I said, I used to be the person who every morning I would stand in front of the mirror and I just would hate what I saw. I did not like what I saw. I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel like I looked good enough. I didn't like what I saw, and it just went a lot deeper than that. Right? That's what I figured out. And I owe a lot of credit to my first nutrition coach that I ever had, which was Jeff Hewitt. Amazing, amazing guy. I doubt Jeff's listening to this podcast right now, but if he is, I appreciate Jeff. He really, really helped me out with a lot of stuff that I was struggling with, a lot of things that I worked on heavily for a long time and just could not get by myself. And one of those things was my body image. I talked with Jeff about it, and he gave me some information. He's like, dude, this is a lot deeper than surface level, right? This is a lot deeper than just what your body is. There's a lot of other things that are going into this. And so what I ended up doing was I listed out, this was the first step. And I'm going to be going through my story basically on this episode. I'm going to be talking through what I've done in the past. And I'm talking about a book that I read that really helped me, talking about some different things. And so hopefully you can take some of these steps, you can start using them in your life, and you can start to make some real progress on your body image issues. The first thing I did is I had to understand that it was deeper. It wasn't just me not liking my body, right? It went a lot deeper. It was me not liking other things about myself. And it was me thinking that meant, that it was me using that as like not liking my body and thinking I need to get that into a better spot. So what I started doing is I listed out things I loved about myself, things I didn't like about myself or hated about myself, my weaknesses, my strengths. I just listed all these things out on a sheet of paper. And what I did is I made it my mission to start getting into a better spot with those things that I didn't like about myself and with my weaknesses. I started working on myself. I started taking some of those things I didn't like, or those things that I wasn't good at, or those things I thought that was holding me back. And I started trying to put my best foot forward. I put together an action plan. What can I do each day to move myself forward towards liking these things about myself more, towards loving myself more, towards getting better with these weaknesses that I have? And once I was able to start doing that, and I started doing these things daily, and keep in mind, like I talked about my discipline not being great. That's not to say I was definitely not doing these things every day, right? I would do some things, take some steps back, kind of my normal roller coaster for my life. But the main thing is I was making progress. I was making progress on these things. I was able to look myself in the mirror at the end of the day and be like, you know what, you're doing your best. And I think that's the biggest thing that I learned was that, or one of the biggest things that I learned was that it was a lot deeper than surface level. I had to get to a point where I could tell myself I was doing my best because I didn't like a lot of the things about my body. And I think a lot of that was because I wasn't doing anything about it. I wasn't actually doing anything to love myself. I wasn't doing anything to improve myself or grow. And so once I started doing that, I started doing daily things that were going to move me forward. I started doing daily things that led me to putting my best foot forward and led me to actually feeling like I was giving my best effort. And that was the first thing that started to make progress. Another thing that I did was I read this book called The High Five Habit by Mel Robbins. This is a really good book. If you struggle with body image issues, body dysmorphia, stuff like that, this is a great book. And Mel talks about basically connecting with yourself more and being able to like give yourself a high five first thing in the morning in the mirror. And it really did work for me to start loving myself more and to start just making a lot of progress there as well. So I did that as well. I also sent over to some of my best friends, to my brother. I think I sent it over to 5 people where I sent over, I was like, hey, please do not hold back on this. Like, give me true feedback on this, but I want to know what you think my greatest strengths are and what you think my greatest weaknesses are. And these people did not hold back. And I really appreciated it. I really appreciated it. And guess what? I didn't see on there at all. I didn't see anything about my body, right? Nobody cares about how you look, right? Nobody cares how good a shape you are in. You might, and that's not a knock at all. I think it's awesome to be in good shape. I think it's awesome to be in good health. I think those things contribute to you living longer, having longer to be able to make an impact on this world, your friends, your family, to live as long as possible for your kids, your wife, your spouse, your husband, your whoever out there, right? That's what we all want to do. We want to make the biggest impact. We want to be able to live as long as possible, to do the things we want to do with the people we want to do it with, right? And guess what? I never heard from anybody was, yeah, your body sucks, right? Or there's like anything to mention my body or my physique in any way. Because guess what? People don't care if you're in good shape, right? They don't care if you have this really good physique. They care if you're a good person. And I think if you can look yourself in the mirror and you can say that you're a good person, and that you're doing your best and that you're working on yourself and you're growing and you're trying to get better, that you should feel extremely good about that. And I think that's what this is all about, is just telling you all that those are the big things that I did to get past my body image issues. Was first off, just understanding that it's deeper. Doesn't have anything to do with my body. It has more to do with the effort I'm putting forward, with what I think my expectations, with what I think other people will view me as, all of those things. And it's a lot deeper than surface level. And then I had to just start working on myself. I listed out the things that I struggle with, the things I don't like about myself, the things that I have for weaknesses. And I started working on those things. And I started to try to get into a place where I was putting my best foot forward every day. And I was actually putting my best effort in. And I was actually working on these things. I read The High Five Habit, started giving myself a high five in the mirror every morning, and started connecting with myself more, started loving myself more. And then I sent over some stuff to my friends and my brother. What are my biggest weaknesses? What are my biggest strengths? You could do this with coworkers. You could do this with anybody in your life, right? Send it over to some people, see what they say. I guarantee you they're not going to say anything about your physique. They're not going to say anything about your physique because they don't care about your physique. They care if you're a good person. They care if you are there for them. They care if you are trying to help or trying to, just, that's all that people care about. They don't care about how you look. And so if you can understand that, you can start working on yourself. You too will be able to make a lot of progress with your body image, with your body dysmorphia, and you will get past this. But understand, like I said, I don't know if this fully actually resolves itself. I still don't always love what I see in the mirror. I think there's always going to be a hint of that there, but I understand that. I don't have expectations that it's going to completely go away. But the big thing is that I've become somebody who is really, really focused on growth. I'm really, really focused on getting better. What can I do to become a better person? What can I do to become the best version of myself? What can I do to become the best coach that I can possibly become? What can I do to help more people, to make a bigger impact? If you're focused on growth, if you're focused on bettering yourself, if you're focused on becoming the best version of yourself, then you're on the right path. And that's all you can focus on. I think this isn't something that will be resolved overnight. Like I said, and I don't think it's never going to be fully resolved for people. That's my opinion. Maybe there's some people who they've gotten fully through this, but I've talked with other people who have struggled with body image issues and body dysmorphia, and a lot of them, and maybe even all of them, seem to have like a little hint of it still there. So understand, it probably doesn't go away fully, but you can make a ton of progress if you go through these steps And this is what worked for me, right? This is what worked for me. This is what got me into a lot better spot with it. And I've tried to work over the years of not caring what other people think. I think a lot of my body image issues was thinking that that's what girls wanted to see, right? The girls just wanted to see like this really, really good body. It's like, oh, if I could keep getting better, but it was never good enough, right? None of this was ever good enough because I also didn't think I was the best person at that time. I've really made a lot of strides in that, just like trying to become a better person, trying to become somebody who helps more people, who makes a bigger impact in the world. And it's awesome when you can do that. And I can look myself in the mirror and know that I'm putting my best foot forward. So hopefully this episode has been helpful. Please, if it was, please share with a friend. Please like, subscribe, um, rate us 5 stars, please, on like iTunes, on Spotify, on YouTube. We really, really appreciate it. It really helps us grow the podcast. We're trying to get it out to more people and trying to make sure we can impact more lives, because that's what this is all about. Right? I talked a lot about impact, of helping, about just putting your best foot forward today. That's what we're trying to do here, trying to get the Lifestyle Nutrition Podcast out to more people. So we appreciate all of you. Thanks again for taking the time to listen or watch this. And I hope you have a good rest of your week.